Welcome to ComSpark. Today we're in Cincinnati, Ohio. My name is Kirk Tyler, and I will be your host today. I'd like to welcome Chuck Kulchar, Senior Director of Software Engineering of GE Aviation. Chuck, what has been the most satisfying accomplishment in your career thus far?
Yeah, that's a good way to start here. I'm not going to point out any specific thing we've done so far, but I think just in general, I think I'm pretty proud of my ability to kind of come into a situation, bring some levity to it, make people feel like they can be themselves in their situations. Because I feel like if we can do that, we can get the maximum out of our employees and they can enjoy coming to work every day. We have a woman on our team, and she always talks about a lot of times you bring a representative to yourself, of yourself to work. And you bring this representative, they're not as good as work as if you just bring your whole self. And you can't bring your whole self if there are things that make you uncomfortable at work. And so the more comfortable and more approachable we can make the work environment, I think that's obviously my biggest accomplishment. You know, we had a group of developers that recently joined our team, and we had an all hands with my boss and developers, and we were just kind of joking around. But we're serious when we need to. We joke around, we can make fun of each other. And after the all hands, a couple of them came up to us and they were just like, "Holy moly, we love what you bring as like an attitude and like personality to work, and like we're just excited to get on board this train and like start delivering." So, again, kind of my favorite accomplishment is just being able to let people be themselves.
That's great. Yeah, that's a great way to look at things. So, what challenge are you most concerned about within the IT field?
Sure. There's really two big ones here. I think overall we need to continue to make progress in diversity. That is obviously top of mind for hopefully any leader in this organization, any leader in aviation, any leader in the industry in general. We absolutely have to keep after it. That's an interesting one. A lot of times we all want to go to the part where we check the box and we said, yep, we made progress and here are these metrics. But it's not really so much checking the box here. This is a continuous thing we need to work at and continue to get better at. Invest, in our younger generation, invest in the high school students and really start to build that pipeline. And it's not going to take a day, it's not going to take a month, but it's going to take continual effort here. I'd say so. That's probably the big number one, and hopefully it's the number one focus for everybody. Secondly, I think is this is another one that's kind of near my heart, is getting away from the idea that we all have to play what I'll call hero ball in IT, and that every week you need to be grinding out 80 hours a week. And I get it. There's go lives, there's complications of go lives, there are big releases, right? And those are going to require a lot more effort. But if that's the norm, and I feel like it's kind of creeping in the Midwest here, that kind of West Coast mentality. If that's the norm, then we're going to lose what makes us us, and we're going to just become robots. And if you're just a robot at work, you're not bringing your best ideas and your most creative self to maybe solve a problem better in 5 hours rather than grind at it for 20. So those are two things I really like to get better at.
It's always better when you have more fun at your job, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's all rooted in delivery. If you can't deliver, it's a price of entry for this. But if we can do it in a way people like to it, and they like coming to work as much as we humanly can, we feel like that's a win for us.
That's great. As business becomes more digital and the increase of use of technology, the nature of the IT function has changed. Have you seen a shift in your organization for operations, user support?
Oh my goodness, we've had, I'd say, two tectonic shifts in this. The first one would be how GE Aviation externally goes to customers now, and we bring a digital presence when we go to external customers. So these are the airliners, the operators, people flying our engines, and we can bundle software solutions with our engines that really can optimize, minimize disruptions when something happens at a network, whether it's weather related or whether it's maintenance related or whatever it is. We can figure out how to minimize those and keep customers as happy as possible. I'm assuming you've probably been in an airport where you're a little frustrated because maybe things weren't quite on time. We're trying to eliminate that as much as we can and partner with our airliners. I think secondly, and this is what I can speak more to as I'm on the internal side of software, but we have had a fundamental change in how we deliver software and how we develop software, primarily driven through more of, I'd say, contemporary code practices and cloud-based, cloud-based native services, right? You think back 5 years ago, and it was all about patching and rebooting and the things that you absolutely had to do in IT to get good. And I worked in organizations where that was what was my key focus. But when you think about what our business mission is to get better, make the aviation business better, and drive outcomes, those are things that we have to do, but we would rather not do. We'd rather focus on business core technology and business logic. And so really with the shift to kind of the cloud right now and being able to use native services, containers, native database technologies, right? Like these are huge fundamental changes where we can go from, spending 40% of our time, I'd say kind of on administrative tasks to like 90% of our time doing business logic and 10% on those more administrative tasks. And then we can use that time not only to do better coding, more focused coding, but sit with the users, sit with our product team, continue to work with our transformation team so we can, as an IT organization, get better in general. So it's been fun to be part of that journey. As someone that's been in IT for 15 years now, which, I used to be the young person, and I'm just not. But it's been fun to see that shift.
That's great, yeah, because obviously more and more people are focused on the cloud strategy.
Sure,
so,
yeah.
How do you describe your organization's cloud strategy?
I've been lucky to be with GE during this time. We started to go all in as an organization, not just aviation or individual business units, but like as a company about 6 years ago, and that gave us, I think, a tremendous step in the right direction to be able to understand some of those foundational cloud technologies and get comfortable with those, get our security teams comfortable with those, get our compliance teams, our technology teams, and it kickstarted our journey. And our strategy is all in on cloud. Our custom software development is on cloud. Wrap as many security constructs we can around it. Be comfortable with that. Obviously, there's a level of being uncomfortable on a daily basis with security and constantly trying to get better. But really that 6-year journey has got us to the point where we can use these native services with everything we do and just accelerate. So we're all in on it. We're going to continue to be all in on it.
That's the speed of market for you guys.
That is absolutely a differentiator for our IT community.
That's great. So staff retention, we also know that's important for a lot of companies.
Yeah.
So what steps are you taking to retain necessary technical staff within GE?
Sure. I don't like to give my boss a lot of compliments, but he's come up with something pretty fantastic. When we get together as a leadership team in his organization, we don't come in with a set agenda and say, okay, these are the 10 things we're going to go solve, and it's budgeting, and it's working with this person. Before we get together for a week for offsites, we ask our individual contributors, our software developers. There's 650 software developers that we support. What do you want us to work on? What do we need to get better at? And the fact that they're able to focus their leadership team, I think, on the things that will make their life better, whether it's diversity inclusion, or it's career pathing, or it's compensation, or it's whatever it is, we go work on the things that are important to them. And that's manifested itself in a pretty stable workforce. We've been able to attract a lot of really good talent, and more importantly, develop and keep that really good talent. And plus, it kind of works in our favor to work on something like a jet aircraft engine, because they're actually pretty freaking cool.
So how effective has it been addressing opportunities for innovating new technologies in the area?
Yeah, really, really, really effective. That's one of the things we really focus on as a leadership team too, is when you have your one-on-one with employees, it shouldn't be, tell me about what you did yesterday and how can I make you 3% more effective at doing what you did yesterday. It's how do we grow you as a human being? How do we keep you engaged? How do we keep you happy with what you're doing? If you're not getting there, are things we can do? And so this manifests itself in technology trainings. It also manifests itself in people saying, hey, look, I just want a little bit of time to play every week. And you know what? That's fine, because that's going to allow us to develop those 10 times returns that we can't even think about 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So it's really, it's the manager and the employees thinking out, understanding what their technical career path is and what it looks like. And we've been really fortunate to be good at it.
Well, it's exciting. So thank you for looks like you're on a good journey. So we appreciate your time today.
Sure.
And best of luck to you.
Thank you so much.
I would like to thank Chuck for joining us today, and for those listening to the interview. To learn more, go to ComSpark.tech.